from Google Plus?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So now I have to. Oh, I lost you already.
You lost me?
Yeah, hang on. Okay.
Having a bad hair day.
Yeah, I had boof problems this morning. It's just that I've just picked it up. Here we go. Can you see that one? The Google Plus page?
I do. I see a whole bunch of photos up. So remind me, because I'm doing 9 of them today. What did we set as your level 19 critique?
So level 19, I was allowed to do a photo shoot just for me. So I did 2.
I like overachieving. 10 points to you.
One was really sort of kind of close to home with a little girl dressing up and playing make-believe adventures, which was kind of me as a kid. And the other one was, I've just finished it, and it was fun with painted blue jeans.
Okay.
So I thought, should I just quickly show you through them and then pick 5 for a critique or something?
Yeah, you can show me through all of them. Do me a favor and minimize the chat window so that it's not blocking any of the images. And then, yeah, let's go through them. I'm excited. How did it feel to sit and do a shoot that was just for you?
Oh, so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I don't know how to minimize, I can't even say it. Minimize the window. I'll just bring them up and see if this works. Hang on then. Right. Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So this is the rockabilly shoot with painted blue jeans with a body artist and a hairstylist for this. So
oh,
the
so
jeans she's wearing.
Those are painted on her. Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Painted on. I wish I could say I did that, but no. I just did the photography for it.
I love that they did the ripped jeans, so it's her skin showing through, even though it's all her skin. That's awesome. I dig
this
it.
is the hairdressers. It's all done up like a rockabilly sort of setting anyway, so it was quite a cool place to do it.
Yeah. I dig it. So what do you think? How do you like it?
This one, I like the idea of it. I wish I had put it over a little bit more so there was more of the mirror showing, but put a bit more of a vacant stare on her. Like she's done better facial expressions than this one, but it's all right.
Yeah. So the main thing that I'm going to say, because I'm not going to do full critiques on all of them until you pick which ones you want to do, but just when you're playing with reflections, which I love, treat each version of her as if it was its own picture. So if we cropped it right now and all it was the mirror shot, would it be a strong shot? And if we cropped the mirror out and it was just her, would it be a strong shot? And just learn to pay attention to both sides and what the pose looks like from the reflection as well as the main one. And we'll go from there. So, which this one isn't particularly bad, but it's also not entirely flattering. Like we have this really nice little S curve from her shirt and her hip with her arm up on her hip, and we're not getting any of that in the reflection. She looks very straight up and down in the reflection shot. So, just little things like that to pay attention to. But overall, I love the concept of this shoot already.
Oh, I don't know if I can flick through these. I have to go out and in again. Oh, I went to the wrong one. Anyway, this is another one.
Okay.
This is Oat Shed, and I just like the colorings. It was a blue sky day, green grass, and I just thought the colorings would suit her outfit.
Yeah, I agree. The jeans almost match the outline perfectly. That's impressive. Was it really that good, or did you touch that up in Photoshop?
It was kind of the day I brought out a bit more blue in the sky. That was about it. Okay.
It looks just a little bit empty because we're so cloud heavy on her left hand, our right hand side. So I probably would have just carried them over just to either fill the whole top or brought a couple more down. or left. This is one where I think an empty sky would have actually worked because blue is the only real primary color. You have a little bit of the green, but it's muted in comparison. But I love the symmetry of this shot. I think this one's fabulous.
Oh, nice.
This would be a good one to add to your critique one because it's really well done.
Just having fun with the phone there. And she tried to blow bubbles. She cannot blow bubbles of the bubble gum. It was
I actually think it works better with her pulling on the gum. I love the attitude and the styling of this one. I would have liked to have seen her hands be a little more asymmetrical. Her arms are kind of parallel to each other, so that's throwing it off a little bit. If we had tipped one out a little bit further, I think, or leaned her into the phone instead of leaning her away. Just to give a little bit of juxtaposition in her upper body, because I'm seeing very strong lines in her forearms. And if we had brought her left knee out and over a little bit more, we would have gotten a little bit more of the S curve because she's very slender, but she doesn't have a lot of the hourglass figure, and she's losing a lot of the indentation on her waistline because of the shirt, because it's a man's shirt and the way it's tied up, it's not form-fitting to her. So you have to almost over-exaggerate the pose, and especially in like pinup and rockabilly kind of shoots, you can exaggerate everything because that's part of what the theme and the style is.
Yes.
But I love the styling. I love her little attitude. I love her pulling on the gum and being on the phone. It's so fun to see a phone with a cord. I think this one's fabulous. The lighting's a little flat for me. It's really, really well executed all the way through, but I think the lighting falls a little flat and makes it look a little less from a professional as far as the photography standpoint goes. I'd be inclined to go in and dodge and burn this one pretty heavily and just play with the retouching a little bit more to make it pop, because she's kind of fading into the background because the wall is so busy.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think it works, but everything is competing, especially because you have a face that is almost the size of her face right next to her.
Okay.
So I'd be inclined to go in and just play with the retouching a little bit to make her pop out from behind a little bit more. So, but overall, I really love this one too.
Cool. So with the lighting, I had two offshoot speed lights, one through a softbox, and I had just a battery run video light, which is pretty low, but that's what I use for these ones anyway.
Okay.
Then the circus was in town. Oh, now it's gone to the other one again.
There's the little arrows right at the bottom. You can probably scroll back and forth right with them, right at the bottom of the photo. Do you see them?
No,
yeah.
No.
Oh, well, I'm seeing them.
Oh well.
Okay.
Okay. This is another one. So this is that same lighting thing. The first lighting attempt, I got more shadow behind her back, which I actually still quite like, but I was trying to get no shadows. I still got a bit around her bum.
I see it just a little bit. It's not bothering me necessarily. And I would think that you could probably go in and, again, just lightly dodge where it's light and kind of blend it in so that it would be less noticeable if it's bothering you. You're so close to perfection with this shot. I love her pose. I love the shoes. I love the body language. You know, the lighting on her tummy looks great. It's really flattering and showing off all the muscles. I would have liked to have seen that arm come out just a little bit further so we could have seen a little bit more of the curve of her breast coming around, and I would have liked to have seen that shoulder dropped back so we would have seen a little bit of it from the front too. Yep. I think the hair would have been stronger if it had been thrown over her back shoulder so that we were still seeing the length of it, but it wasn't severing her neck, because it's starting to make her look a little thick up top, because no neck always translates to like big football player guys, you know, like big workout guys. So I always try to have at least one line of the neck, and here we're losing the back line and the front line of it because of the hair being in front. I love that she's got her hand up, but I think with it facing the camera, it's competing with her face. It's almost the same size. So if we had turned that away a little bit or turned it out so that it was a little bit thinner, I think it would have been a little bit stronger. Even just let her rest her hand on top of it. I think that would have worked a little bit better. Or if you had over-exaggerated even more and let her just kind of bite on the finger, or so that it was severed from the rest of her hand, I think that would have been better. But they're too close right now. It's a little bit too claw-like. But I'm really, really picking at it. This is a fantastic shot. I think this is my favorite of the bunch you've showed me so far.
Yay. Okay. So yeah, the circus was in town, so they were really, we just went up and said, oh, can we go and use some of your cool tents and your old buildings behind? So we had fun, and I've got heaps of photos with all their old buses and two big top tents, and it was really cool. And this is one of their circus trailers as well.
Yeah, I'm loving on the fact that you're playing with the blue color and finding elements of that in the surroundings to play off of her, because it's working really well as a whole. And that's exactly what it looks like. She looks like, you know, like a carny, like the really hot carny girl. And I dig it. The shirt is bothering me. You have to be careful about doing the midriffs, because you can see like there's no separation from the sleeve to her waist. It's adding a lot of thickness with her, and a lot of times you can get away with that by just pinning up. You can kind of like roll the fabric up and pin it up under her arm, and give the illusion of it being better fitted, or you know, actually having a girl's shirt that's fitted to her, then it'll fit tighter. But this one's a little bit too big for her, and I feel like we're losing a lot of her figure. But you're definitely overcompensating for that by the fact that she's just got the body painting and we're seeing those legs, which are killer. So I like this one too. Is this all natural light?
Yes, this one is. I'm just trying to think if I had the reflector on. No, this is all natural.
Yeah. Okay. So I like it. It's still a little flat for me. I'd like to see it just punch up the contrast just a little to make it pop. You know, if you're looking at those, you know, rockabilly pin-up kind of photos, like part of it is the high contrast, and I think these would work really well, really turned up almost to the point of like comic strips, like cartoon kind of creatures. I feel like there's so much information and attitude and color going on, and it's just falling a little bit flat with the retouching for me, I think. So something to play with, but I do still really love the shot. Right.
Brownie camera. This is one of the ones I sort of like the idea probably more than the shot, but yeah, I quite like it. It's fun.
The body painter was fantastic. Like, my compliments. I really love the jeans. This one you can tell a little bit more that it looks body painted. The styling's fantastic. I love the idea of her and the camera. I think this one would have been stronger if you'd let the camera lead, and maybe taken her away from all the information on the wall and put her on a blank wall. And this would probably be a really strong one in black and white too, where it's paying more homage to the vintage and the time frame that hairstyle was popular and stuff like that, rather than it being so pin-uppy. I think this one would have been a softer shot. And I also think that this one, I know it's all about the body paint too, but I think that this one would probably work better as like a 3/4 portrait kind of thing in a closer in shot, because a lot of these have been full body, which I totally get with the body painting, but it's still not a bad thing to have one or two that are close-ups.
Cool. Back at the circus, that bus is called Hefty.
Nice.
Yeah, a bit more of a vacant look again. I probably would have, yeah, and a bit more straight up and down with this pose. She looks better when she's doing a bit more booty touche.
Mhm. Yeah. If again, same thing. If she had pulled that knee all the way over, it would give her a little more curve. That's the downside. Like, everybody's like, oh, you know, that perfect figure, but when they're really thin and you're shooting this kind of stuff, you have to do the opposite and accentuate and over exaggerate their curves because they're so thin and almost have, like, you know, that little bit of a boyish figure. So you had to really watch your angles. And you have it. There's a couple of shots where, you know, you definitely caught it, and she just looks feminine and sexy and has all her curves in the right places. But again, with that big shirt, we're losing so much of her waistline and the curve in that you have to over-exaggerate it elsewhere to kind of make up for it. I love, again, the color play and having the red of the bandana and then the red of the trailer or the bus. Same thing. It's very simple retouching, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I feel like with all of the energy that went into the posing and the color coordinating and the outfits and the body painting, that pushing the limits a little bit with the retouching and playing with it and having it pop and be a little more three-dimensional, not HDR, but almost HDR reminiscent, where it's just got that high contrasty kind of saturation feel to it, I think would work really well with these. That's the only thing that I keep looking at and going, that's what would really make it, you know, an exceptional image.
More drama to it.
Yeah, and it deserves it.
Cool. Okay, now we get into the little girl.
Okay.
So, yeah, basically the scenario is she's got into the dress-up box and then gone off on a little mini adventures. This one I chose in black and white because she looks like she's camouflaged, but I did have a good critique from Monique saying that it would look good in colour just so that she would pop more. So maybe if it was more of a portrait session where I was selling this image, I would probably do it in colour. But I just like the idea that she's kind of camouflaged and it's part of the story. That's why I liked it in black and white.
I like this one too, and I would love you to send this. Well, actually, I can look it up in the group, and it'll be a little bit bigger. I love all the texture, but I feel like her in black and white with all the texture that we're losing her a little bit. There's so much information because the leaves are so small and the ferns and the texture on the bark, and you have all these great elements coming together. But I feel like we're losing her a little bit in the midst of it, which doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't work, but there are a couple of little things you could have did. Like I would actually be inclined to go in and vignette it, just so that, because your eye is always drawn to the latest part of the image, and I think that if we did that, you kind of have this natural vignette going on because the canopy opens up a little bit, so we have like this halo behind her. I think that if we went in and just kind of dodged and burned around and added this sort of natural vignette to play on that so that she really popped with a little bit more highlight, that it would draw your attention into her a little bit more. But she's like dead center in the image, and because you have her, you know, you have her up and kind of perched, she's just surrounded on all sides by all of this texture and information, and I feel like that's taking away from her a little bit. So, but I love the concept and I love the location. I'd be curious to see this one in color too.
Yeah, it's probably what Monique was probably getting at, was making her pop more. Okay. So this is by a little stream with a pan flute. Just the same idea with her having a play around.
I'm coming to visit so I can come shoot in these places because they're beautiful. And I love them. This looks right out of a fairy tale. I love it. The angle that you have her at is sort of compacting her midsection a little bit, so she looks a little bit short and kind of compressed. But I do think it works a lot better in color because you still have all that rich texture, but she's surrounded by green, so her with the flesh tones and the white is totally standing out on its own, which I think is a much stronger image. I'd have been more inclined to fan the dress out almost to the side and behind her instead of having her sit back, because she almost looks like she's sitting in like a recliner or rocking chair. And I would have liked to have seen her like a little more perched on the rocks, I think. But I love the idea of it and the flute. It's awesome.
Cool. We spent an hour trying to figure out how to play that and realized he just blew into the top. I thought it was one of those side things, but it's not. A blonde moment. This is actually, she's walking on a log, and I wish I could define it a bit more, but it was quite dark underneath, but it's actually quite a tall log she's walking across. And I did have a play around with the tinting and layers on this one in the photo editing.
This one is another fairy tale image. I love the retouching on this. The light coming from the side looks very, very ethereal, very fairy-like. It's a little girl in a magic forest, and it's very, very easy to tell. I like that it's weighted, but you kind of have this like three-side vignette going on because of the way that the light is. And I'd like to see just a little bit more of the texture pulled out underneath her, I think, because she kind of almost has this floating feel because we're not seeing what she's grounded to, because it's so dark. So I'd be inclined to go in and just pull out a little bit of the texture of the log and some of the floor foliage. But overall, this is a beautiful shot. I love the lighting on it. I think it's beautiful. I love that she's playing with the dress. And I totally understand having to pick it up so that she could walk, but I would have staggered it a little bit so that her hands weren't dead even on either side. Having her bring one hand out and pull the fabric away so that it was still lifted, but put her hands at different angles, I think would have really made a big difference in it. But that said, this is my favorite shot that you've shown me so far from this series. I think it's beautiful. So this one's definitely a keeper for me.
Oh. It sounds really simple. I just liked it because it showed her personality, you know, her putting on she's done her own makeup, and you know how you grab your mother's makeup and always do the sparkliest, bluest eyeshadow you can find. Yeah, I just thought it showed her personality a bit.
Yeah. And I love the idea of it, but I think that you have to have more to the story. So that's the story that it builds. Because right now, having her on a log, it just looks like you did not have a good makeup artist on that day. And you have to think, like, people that weren't there and don't have a chance to talk to you that come across the images and saying what you wanted to say, and I don't feel like this one is necessarily. I love that she's cheeky and she's got her little girl personality, but this concept and letting her do that would have been a lot better if you had surrounded her with makeup and had her playing with it, and so that the viewer can build that story with it. I don't think this one's working, and because of the angle that you're at with her, we're like shooting up her nose a little bit. So this one's a miss for me. This one wouldn't make the final cut. It's super cute and fun, but it's not a professional image.
This one I played around with textures again and lens blur, though I might have gone a bit OTT or the lens blur setting on the Photoshop. But you know, when you try things, you go a bit OTT.
Yeah. And I agree. I think it's a little bit harsh. It needs a more subtle fall off. Mostly because in order to fake more shallow depths of field and the blur, you have to keep everything that's on the same field in the same part of focus. So there's no reason that the bottom of her dress would be that blurry and that out of focus when 2 inches above, before you even get to her waistline, it's almost tack sharp. So I'd be inclined to go back in and retouch and keep her in focus and then just build it out and just pay attention to, you know, the planes of, you know, where everything is in the layers as they're going back. Just think of it as layers in between where you are as the photographer and where the subject is, and you can build them in and out that way. But things like some of the branches, like if it's part of the same plant, either it's in focus or it's not, or it's a little bit in focus, but you can't have very drastic things, otherwise it just looks like, you know, like it was done in Photoshop. But I love the natural vignette of the darkness around her and her standing out because of the white dress. And I like everything that's going on in the foreground, and she almost looks caged a little bit. So I would have actually been inclined to have her not smile in this one and kind of play into that character a little bit of sort of being like, you know, like Alice lost in the woods kind of thing. Like, that doesn't look like a place to me that a little girl's like, hey, I'm happy I'm out here in the middle of the woods all by myself where it's kind of dark. You know, so you had to kind of like play into that because she's super, super cute, but I think it would have been a much stronger image if you had had some of that sort of unease translate a little bit. I think it would have made it a stronger image.
Oh. This was playing around with tinting and doing like a top tint and a bottom tint on the graduated, is it graduated filters? Playing around with those. Yeah. I lost her neck in this one. I keep telling you to put it just a little bit lower, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, you also have to kind of pay attention to body language and physics because she can't draw the bow and drop her shoulder.
Yeah, yeah.
She can't hold tension in it that way while she's drawing back. So the fix for that would have actually been for you to rotate her and have her shoot off the other frame, or for you to go around the other side of her and shoot from behind her. That way we would have had a lot more definition because we would have had the second arm. And that also, because that arm's down, we would have had the line of her neck too. So that was just poor perspective.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that it kills the shot. I still like the idea of it. I agree that we lost her. She looks very chunky in her upper body because the dress is so big and frilly. And because her arm's drawn out, it's just a big blob of white that I think is overpowering. So I think it would have been a stronger shot if we had shot her from the other side so we could have seen both arms and some of the neck and sort of given her a little bit more body and figure to work with, some more lines. So that we could translate the information. But I still think it's a super cute idea. I love her expression and her pose, and I like that there's this little swirl motion going on with the gown that I think is really strong. Same thing with the blurred, like you have the leaves at the bottom of the dress that are almost completely in focus, and then everything else that's right alongside it is completely out, so it's not believable. And some of that's just a subtlety thing too. Like you can do another layer or mask and just take that blur down in the opacity to probably about maybe 30 to 40%. Like go and play with the bars a little bit so that you're getting a little bit of that softness, but it's not bam, which is what it's doing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
I like it.
All right, I think that's the last one.
All right, awesome. Okay, so you definitely have some good shots. I think your strongest shots are in the first session, her playing with the gum and the telephone. That one's a really strong one. Definitely the one of her leaning over the toolbox. And probably the one of her with the garage door. And the one of her next to the trailer with the blue star on the door. I think those are all really strong. The other ones would probably go. We missed them with the other two. With the little girl, I think definitely my favorite is the third shot. I think that's your best shot of the series. I like the one with the archery, and I like the one of her playing the fruit. As far as the series goes, if you were showing them just to coincide as a series on your website, the first one wouldn't make it just because the entire series is in color except for that one.
Yeah.
So you lose the continuity of it. So that one would go for me. The one of her on the tree with her doing her own makeup would definitely go for me. And I think the one of her behind the vines and the trunks, that one would probably... That one I could leave. That one I could leave or take, so I'm inclined to leave it because if I don't love it, there's no reason it should be on there.
Yeah, I've got a couple more with her in there, kind of like peeking out, not looking at the camera, like she's peeking out and looking at stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I might play around with those a bit more, maybe.
That's a great idea. Okay, so what was your level 20? You said you did your level 20 already too. Did your level 20 or level 19?
I'll go back to your face. Okay, where are you?
Yeah, you can turn off the this screen share too. That way you can see your pretty face as well.
Yay. So for level 20, I did goals for myself and for the business, and also thinking ahead on what I could possibly want out of Sphere 2. Sphere 2.
Sphere 2, yeah. It throws me off too.
Yeah. And I've got a personal project which I think would be quite cool to work along with that.
Okay, let's hear it.
I wrote it all down. Do I have to say?
Yeah, I want to hear it. Let's have a conversation about it.
Okay, I've got to bring it up to remember what I wrote. It was I'm thinking next month I'm going to announce that this is the last year I'll be doing weddings.
Bravo. How are you feeling about that?
I've got a year to try and make the other side work, so it's exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. Yeah. And what else did I write? Oh, the things like social media goals, trying to post something once a day that's interesting, not just for the sake of posting. How much money I want to earn a month and how many sittings I want to get per week, get that. All those sort of things I've written down.
Okay.
And my project is there is a bird of prey sanctuary just down the road, and the falcons and owls and things like that. And they've done calendars before, but they're just like wildlife kind of shots. And I'm hoping to go approach and do a proposal together, get all those contacts with body painters and fashion designers that I know, and see if we can do some fantasy portraits.
Ooh, I love that idea. That's an awesome project.
So that it could take over a good 6 months because they might have baby chicks at one time a year, and we'll do something based on that. So that's what I want to approach them about, which I thought might be quite cool to base my next sphere on, maybe.
I love that idea. That's fantastic. So I would imagine that one of the first steps in doing that would be to actually get some of your designers and artists together and body painters and come up with a concept for one of them and actually do one so that you have something to take there for the proposal and go like this, because you can say, this is what I have as an idea, but if you actually have one of the finished images and show them, a list, like, the more well prepared you go in and the less that they have to do and the more it benefits them, the less likely they are to say no. That's how partnerships work, You always try to make it more worthy for the other side and less work for them than it is for you. That's good business partnerships.
Yeah.
But I'm loving this concept. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I am too. I think we could pull it off. I've got like a Pinterest board, but of course it's got none of my work on it because I've never worked with wild birds before. But like they've got falcons that fly on your arm and moorporks, which is the New Zealand owl, native owl, and they sit on your shoulders and stuff like that. But they've only done them in the ear kind of shots, quite wildlife type of shots. They haven't done anything really.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is a totally different concept. See, I love this. I love that you're thinking out of the box like this. That's amazing. Yay, yeah. That excites me. How are you feeling? Are you as excited? I feel like I'm more excited about it than you are.
Yeah, I really am. And if they say no, but they're not going to, because I'm going to do this awesome proposal. But if they say no, then there's also a lion park and a kiwi sanctuary. So they've just missed out. And I will go elsewhere and get me some birds somewhere else.
Awesome. Yeah. I love it. I love seeing how different the critique at level 19 is from level 4. Like, you are just blossoming in your artistry, and it makes me so happy. It really does. I'm just beaming for you because you're like, they'll take it because I'm going to do this awesome proposal, and if they don't, then they're missing out. And it's such a different mindset from like, I think that I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good to see like the confidence and see you recognizing your own value and what you're bringing to the table as an artist, and your images are showing it too. So it's just all around growth. It's making me really happy.
Yeah, I was looking at my first critique ones. Was it level 4 when?
Yeah.
you on the cheesecloth, and yeah, just so different now. So I'm
That's
really
good.
happy. Thank you.
So, when you hit level 20, you
Yeah.
actually get put into a level 20 antechamber with the other ones, and you will get the choice to pick a new master. I have them, one of the ones that's approved to take on a sphere too. So are you thinking that maybe you want to try someone else? Because there is just a plethora of awesome masters hanging around doing all kinds of stuff. You know, but of course I love you and you can stay with me too. But it's totally fine. It's good to get all kinds of experiences. So
I really don't mind, but I think if you're excited for this wildlife sanctuary thing, then that would help me. Yeah.
okay, cool. Good, because I really want to watch it, because wherever you go, I'm going to go stalk that cohort anyway, so I can keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been kind of spoilt with the sphere just gone anyway, because you kind of gave me the sphere to experience in this one. So I'd like
Yeah,
to go
I'm
creative
digging
with
it.
you.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, you know. Sphere 1, that was really intense. I'm not opposed to continuing to do it, but I feel like it's really advanced compared to what everybody else in the other cohorts are doing. But you guys are overachievers. That's why I picked you. So I'm thinking for the higher spheres that you are right on task with exactly what I was thinking. You know, I kind of took your other critiques and built Sphere 1 for you. I'd like Sphere 2 to be a lot about you guys building your own spheres, and you know, at this point a lot of you have taken off the training wheels and are kind of, you know, riding on your own with very, very little help. So it's more putting your own goals together for a specific project or towards the future, and just being able to have the resources and have me be able to tap in and help you and sit down and kind of one-on-one with you guys as we're doing it. And you know, they want to keep the framework that, you know, the level 4 and the level 9 of each sphere are critique levels, so that would be really cool to build the first 3 levels up and then have, you know, at least one of the shoots done, if not more, and be able to come to critique with those. And you know, I know that you were interested in some retouching and stuff like that, so we can sit down and maybe do some one-on-ones in Sphere 2 on retouching, and if you're having trouble with different things, like we can sit down and retouch them together in a hangout, and that way you can kind of learn some new stuff and play with that. But I'm super excited.
Yay. Yeah, that'll be cool. And then I'll go through them with you before I present them, the images, so just, you know, make sure they're looking awesome. I'm thinking just put 1 or 2 per session to give to them as to use as posters or whatever like that, just so I can concentrate on 2 and make them epic, kind of.
Yeah,
session.
Yeah, if you're planning on doing a calendar, what I would probably do is I would probably build this as probably like a year project and plan on shooting 1 a month, you know, or 2 a month if you want to do it in 6 months. You know, and it's totally different when you're shooting an entire session for 1 image. I'm getting into that with the Reliquarian, and it's such a different mindset to be able to go through. I think you'll find it really hard because, you know, you try to build out with packages and portraits where you're like, I need 10 or 20 or 30 to fill my album or my box. Now you're going to have 3 or 4 that you really love that are like your favorites, and you're going to have to narrow it down to 1. It's going to suck. It was,
yes.
That's the hardest one.
The images to the table, yeah.
Yeah. But what you can do is you can actually also shoot it like a fine artist too. So in addition to the calendar, while the whole collection will be the calendar, and you can work out something with them that they get to sell it and you get to sell it and everybody gets to make money off of that, then you'll also have these 12 beautiful fine art prints with body painting and these birds and this whole theme, so they'll fit all well together, and you can sell them and license them as prints and digital files too, and do like limited edition sales as a fine artist too. And everybody will be like, oh my god, have you seen that Joni Bird series? And I'll be like, I knew her when she was level 0.
I was her mentor. That'll be cool. I'm just noticing my hair looks really red with this lighting. My hair is not really this color. I've turned into a...
I like it. I think it's cute. Strawberry blonde.
I've gone Scottish.
So okay, we're at level 19. How are you feeling coming up on the end? I think you're going to be the first one to cross level 20.
Oh, I'm really excited. This last year was really I've sort of come into my own, and you've been really helpful in making me stick to my guns, really, and set definite goals and not to back down when things get a bit scary.
So, you know, we started at level 4 with the first critique. Now that you're at level 20, have your views changed a lot on what you want to do and where you want to be?
Well, yes, remember I was doing everything when I first started the Arcanum, and now I'm saying, yes, I'm stopping weddings, and it's just going to be purely portraits, which is it's just fun. I love that idea, and it's not stressing, and it's and I just think I'm getting better at it. Yeah, and finding different. I'm still working out photo editing because that's still something I feel quite beginnerish at, but it's all starting to come together. I can see the improvement. I feel happier about my images, so I hope they look better. Yeah.
They do. There's a profound growth that you can see from what you brought to level 4 to now, which is good. And that's, as long as we're seeing growth, it's a good thing. It doesn't matter if we didn't get quite to like the images that you're looking at and going, I want to be able to create stuff like that. As long as you're looking at level 19 and level 4 and going, oh, I can see the growth between these from where I started and now, you're on the right path. And your mindset's totally different in the kind of projects. Like, you would have never, even if I had brought it to you or somebody else had, you would have never been like, yeah, I could totally rock this. So I'm really excited that not only are you feeling confident that you can do it, but that these are the kind of things that you're thinking about now. And this is where you see your art going. And you just have this like vision of grandeur that is so well earned and hard fought for through the first 20 levels. And I'm really excited to see it come together.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I feel like I've done a lot of hard work.
You have.
I've been through the ringer with this Arcanum and Jess thing.
Yeah, and I am not an easy master. Like, I'm tough on you right from level 4. Chantal just witnessed it, you know? Like, you have had to work for everything you've had, but look at how much growth there is and where you are as, you know, in the artistry, but also as the artist and the person, and how you feel about your art and your ability as an artist. It's pretty profound. I'm really proud. I'm very proud Mama Bird right now.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so do you have any questions or any lingering things that you feel like we should have hit on that we didn't get to in the first 20 levels? How are you feeling?
No, I feel good. I feel like I've done all the foundations as far as business things, and things will probably come up now, you know, in the future that I haven't foreseen yet, but I think all the basics are there, and it's just going to try and market things now, get my social media going, and I'm getting people aware of me now, especially with these last shoots. I've had a lot of Facebook likes, which is kind of new for me, and yeah, I want to model for you and that sort of thing, so that's all new, and I'm sure things are going to pop up where I think, what am I supposed to do, Jess? And I'll come and see you about them. But yeah, I feel like I've got the foundations, and let's see what happens.
Yay! I'm super excited. Okay, so I'm gonna level you up to 20. As soon as I do, you'll go back in just like you did at level 10, and you'd have to accept a new one. They actually don't. They're working on all of the software and everything for Sphere 2. So you'll go into the antechamber, but you are more than welcome to stay in the community and hang out and participate in, you know, like the little artist challenges and stuff like that in the interim. And since you know what you want to do, if you decide that you definitely want to stay here, we can actually start working on your Sphere 2. You know, you just won't be officially leveled up until the software catches up for us to be able to do that. So here's what I want from you now. I want you to go back through and look over your first 20 levels and kind of reminisce a little bit and celebrate with how well you've done. And then what I'd like you to do is I would like you to write me a letter, and it's going to be double-sided. You can actually just like take a sheet and like T-chart it if you want, and go On the one side, I want to see what you've grown in and what you've accomplished from level 0 to level 20. And then on the other side, the second list, I would like it to be what I still need to do, you know, and what I still want to accomplish. So same thing we did, you know, at level 10, we really sat down in the level 9 critique and went, here we are, and this is where we want to be. So now that we're at level 20 and we accomplished those 10 tasks to get you closer to that, same thing. I want to know where you're looking to go now, so we can keep that pattern of growth, because you've just been killing it, girlfriend.
Oh, yay, thank you.
So, all right. Well, congratulations on being the very first apprentice ever in House Lark to graduate to Sphere 2. I'm very proud of you, Joni.
Thank you so much for your help, Jessica.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, girlfriend.
Yeah.